In this video, we're going to test our new model Ideogram to the max. Now, if you don't know, Ideogram is an AI model, and it claims to be pretty good at generating assets or graphics for graphic design, where you might use something like DALL-E to create really intricate and nice illustrations or assets or elements, and then you might use something like Flux to create really hyper-realistic photos of things. And by the way, I've done videos on both of those you can check out on the channel. Ideogram has decided to shine in its graphical nature, its graphical expertise, if you will. And so we're going to test that to the max with none other than ChatGPT. So here in this project, I just asked ChatGPT. I had a small little conversation with it where I basically said, do you know what Ideogram is? Explain to me what Ideogram is good at. And then I said, okay, give me 5, in-depth prompts. Make sure you use things like descriptive words and styles. Make sure you give it text to generate in the graphic itself, all that kind of stuff. I had this little back and forth with ChatGPT. We ended up on these 5 very distinct, very different design prompts, and that's what we're gonna do. So I haven't seen anything. We're gonna go through this one at a time. You're gonna be just as surprised as I am, and then you get to give your score in the comments, and I'll give my 2 cents at the end, and let's see what happens. So here in Kittl, to find and access all of our AIs, including Ideogram, you're gonna click on this little Kittl AI button in the left. Then I'm gonna go up to image generator. If you wanna create sets of generations, you can do that. If you want to restyle and retouch up an image, you can do that. And then you can design a vector graphic in the design generator. I'm gonna click image generator. Then up here, you can see our different models. I'm actually gonna expand this panel a little bit. And if I hover over these models, you have DALL-E, great for illustration, Flux, great for photography, and Ideogram, great for graphic design. Very interesting. So let's select Ideogram and let's go ahead and start with our first prompt. So I'm just going to click into this and I am going to grab the prompt right there and paste it in. And what we're going to do is not give it a design style, at least not right now. So you have these styles, which if I click show all, you can go and you can click one of these. And we have these typography styles, which are very helpful for if you just want to generate something that's going to be very text heavy, or if you want a text specific graphic, or you want to try some lettering out in your graphic design. We have those, which is extremely helpful for you. Then we have these other clip art styles that might get you what you want. But because Ideogram claims to be quite strong, what I'm going to do is not select a style, and I'm just going to let it be what it is. So a faint city skyline in the background with dark gradient blues and subtle 80s sci-fi grid lines. Aim for a crisp, symmetric layout and ensure the text is legible and centered. And we want the poster to read Future of Creativity. So we're going to see if it does that for us. I am going to put this in, let's leave it in 1 by 1. I may change it to 9 by 16, but let's leave it in 1 by 1 for now and generate. Okay, this is actually pretty cool, and I really like the consistency of the letters. Let's go back so we can see the prompt here. Bold poster in a retro futuristic style that reads Future of Creativity. We did it. Glowing neon pink. Pretty close. It definitely has the pink around the white there. Include a faint city skyline. Definitely has that. Gradient blues and subtle 80s sci-fi grid lines. You got the grid lines. Aim for a crisp, symmetric layout and ensure the text is legible in the center. I think it pretty much nailed it. The only caveat I would have is I don't necessarily like how these areas are crossing like back and forth, like this little dash and little dash is just me.
Huh?
Little dash is just me.
What?
Little dash is just me.
Oh. Okay.
But let's generate it one more time. I'm gonna go 9 by 16 and generate that and see what it does. I'm gonna go ahead and put this kind of like just up here off, and then we can look at them all together when they're done. Oh shoot, I actually kind of like this one better. That's pretty neat.
How neat is that? That's pretty neat.
Man, just think about the different like Instagram story posts you could do, like if you wanted to run a creative campaign in this kind of style, or if you wanted to do a sale on maybe your products or something that you are, offering your services or your products. I mean, this is cool. Again, it's interesting what it decides to do with this like outer line. Maybe you could tweak the prompt and just say like clean type in the middle, or you could say like shiny or blurry shadow on the type or something. But like generally, I think it's pretty good. I can see that this model is certainly better with type for sure, and it definitely has more of that graphic design nature component to the generations that are coming out. So let's try the next one. All right, and so the next one is going to be a modern minimalist album cover featuring the word refractions. So that's like the ticket. That's what we want to make sure is shown. Geometric sans serif font. Use a black and white and gold color palette with Bauhaus inspired shapes, circles, rectangles, and lines. Include plenty of negative space and ensure the typography is sharp and clean. Okay. Let's see. Not much in the way of like maybe design direction other than the Bauhaus inspired shapes, but hey, let's put this on one by one and let's check it out. Probably won't do a different ratio for this because album covers are generally square. Ooh, that is cool. So it definitely took the Bauhaus to heart here, and I think that it did some really cool things. It does spell refractions. I can see CT, and then this looks like a divider, IONS. REFR, and then like the A looks like it's doing something really interesting. I do like this format in the top right. Let's generate again just to see, what we can get. Okay, this feels better to me. I think I like this a lot more. This definitely gets more to a little bit more balance. I would say that it's probably a little more off than what I would do if I was gonna select and do things myself. Like for example, if I went up into the elements and then I typed in Bauhaus and I clicked this little check, I would probably go through and use these elements and make them maybe a little bit more balanced. I'm not saying that this is a poor design. I think it's okay, especially for AI to have generated, and especially if I needed something fast, or if I needed a reference piece maybe for a project that I'm working on. This is a super fast and easy way to get started. This looks like a font, like for sure. This looks like a very clean, nice, it looks very much like Montserrat maybe a little bit. I think that's what the R is reminding me of. Maybe it's a little thicker than that, but that's nice type right there. Refractions is spelled in a minimal sans serif font, which I believe was the, geometric sans serif font. So I would say this is a winner. I don't so much like the intensity of the first one, or not intensity, but the experimentalness of the first one. But I think the second one, I like that one a lot. You could definitely take that as inspiration and do your own thing. But you let me know in the comments, what do you think of that one? Let's move on to the third one. All right, and the third one is going to be a t-shirt graphic, all right?
Okay.
And going to be early 2000s Y2K aesthetic, so we've decided that that's what the aesthetic is, featuring the word Cybercore Evolution in a metallic gradient, pink to teal. Metallic gradient. I wonder how it's going to do that. Incorporate a glitch effect around the letters and add pixel-like shapes. The overall style should be edgy, techy, and vibrant on a black background. All right, again, I'm not selecting any styles. We're seeing what it's going to do straight with the prompt in Ideogram. Whoa. I think that looks really cool. It's so interesting what this decides to do. I mean, inspired by a 2000s Y2K aesthetic featuring where Cybercore, it's pretty metallic-y, and there is a glitch-looking effect. That's definitely a glitch-looking effect around the letters. I mean, that's pretty good. That would take you a while to come up with on your own, like this kind of layout for this, just to do all of these little effects. Like, that's pretty cool. Personally, I know Cybercore is a long word, but it's almost about the same size as Evolution. So personally, I don't care for this dash being in the middle, but I can see how as the t-shirt graphic would need something like in the middle and a little bit taller. I can understand why it did that using t-shirt graphic as the ratio size. I think it did a generally good job. I'd love to see what it does one more time. Okay. I like the first one better. It basically did the same thing again, so at least it's being consistent, especially these two. These two, interestingly, are not quite consistent, but maybe that's just because it's deciding to kind of interpret Bauhaus two different ways. These are similar. I definitely much prefer the pixelated looking font. That's really cool. Or I guess it's not a font, it's a static graphic, but I think that's really cool. So I'm going to put these next to each other. I definitely prefer the first one, but I also appreciate the consistency. So that just goes to show you might need to change up your font a little bit. You could say something like make sure that these are on one line as opposed to being broken up, and see what you get that way. But let's go ahead and move on to the fourth prompt. And so our fourth one is going to be a mystical themed flyer for an event called Luna Rise.
I rise. I rise. Thank you.
And so far, this AI has been 3 for 3 on getting the spellings right every time and also being extremely close to what the style of the text should look like. So we want to use celestial motifs, moons, constellations, combine deep purples and golds, touch of watercolor, make sure Luna Rise is large, legible, and in a graceful serif font balanced by subtle swirl patterns. So let's generate this image. Ooh, I like this. This is giving me like definitely fantasy book cover vibes. I mean, look at that. It's so interesting to see how the AI is interpreting like balance. I think hierarchy wise, it already has a really good idea. To me, I would say that it's pretty close. And I like how it's using the constellations. I don't so much love the way the moon is just the same moon just on top and the bottom. Feels a little bit lazy to me. But generally speaking, look at these things over here. These are awesome. Like that right there is sick. Don't forget, you guys can always check out the AI library to see what people have used in the similar style with the AI because, you know, great minds think alike. So you might have thought of something and somebody else thought about it and you can use their stuff too. But this is nice. This is given major like book cover vibes, album cover vibes. I mean, this said it was for a flyer, I think, that said Luna Rise. But let's generate it again. Let's see what happens one more time. I love the touch of watercolor, deep purples and golds. This right here, this kind of like pattern, this style around the border here is really cool. Like I like that a lot. Ooh, okay. I like this one more. I think eventually we're going to have a tool where we can kind of blend. There are components to this I like more, and there are components to this one over here I like more. Let me just bring this one over, and we can kind of look at them side by side real quick. So I like the borderness of this one better, but I do like the treatment of this type better. I like this A and the R here. I don't so much like the little swoop and the swoop here. It's not bad. I like how it's like subtly just the bottom of this is a gold gradient. I like these little sparkles. Now, on this one, I like the constellations better than these two. These two seem, again, a little bit lazy. I think what it's doing is it's interpreting graphic design as needing to be kind of symmetrical. And I don't think that that was a word that was in here, unless I'm wrong. I don't think I saw. It says balanced by subtle swirl patterns. It could be interpreting something at a little bit different. I would want to maybe tweak this one, but generally, I think it did a really good job. And I like both. And if you were using this again for inspiration and for reference, I probably still wouldn't use this as a complete piece maybe. I would probably use Ideogram to create assets and elements for me in a piece. But this is like already really close like to something that I could create with my own skills using this kind of as a template to start with. But let's move on to our fifth and final prompt. All right, so for our last prompt, we are going to be creating a collage style banner for a social media profile labeled Urban Bloom. Blend torn paper textures, hand-sketched florals. Ooh, I'm excited for this. This might be my favorite. Overlapping shapes in pastel pink, dusty green, and warm beige. Why does Ideogram like the color pink so often? I mean, again, I didn't give it any specific color palettes. It's just interesting that like in this one, it wants to use pink. In this one, it also wants to use pink. In this one, it's not pink, it's purple, but it's just interesting that we have pink here again. I wonder if Ideogram is like constantly just kind of picking up on different design trends, and that must be a trending color right now. Like we, for example, just posted on our Instagram feed a kind of Wicked, the movie, the musical color palette between pink and green. That's a trending color palette right now, so we did our own. Make sure you check out that post. It's awesome. But anyway, back to this one. So we have pink, dusty green. There it is, pink and green, Wicked. You know, maybe Ideogram knows that Wicked is trending.
That's my line.
And warm beige. The text Urban Bloom should appear in bold, modern sans serif, standing out clearly. Okay, all right, let's generate it. Enough talk. That is awesome. Look at these torn paper. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's cool. You know how long it takes me to usually find these ripped papers? It took so long that I actually, in my own house, tore up tons of different kinds of papers, tons of different kinds of bags, and I actually created my own ripped paper texture pack that I sell on Creative Market and stuff, and it's all analog. I did everything. I took pictures top down. That's how long it takes me to find good quality ripped paper textures. I had to do it myself. But this has just created really nice colored paper textures that I think is like It's just nice. Like, this looks really great. You could certainly create this in Kittl. Now, I will say that I think the etched monoline florals, there could be a little bit more diversity there. It does say hand-sketched florals. These don't really have more of a hands. They don't have a, I don't want to say hand sketch because you definitely could do that with a pen, but I was thinking more of like a doodle. But again, I could change it to that word. I want to generate it one more time and see what happens. Okay, I still like the first one better. It's nice that this one is, the AI is becoming a bit more consistent. I like that. That's a lot of the issues that many people have had, many users you've had, but just with AI in general, not just with Kittl, because we're just integrating models that will perform based on how the model performs. But it does look like it's becoming a lot more consistent. I think this one, for example, is more balanced. I think this one, while there is more variety in the flowers, it's a little too much going on here. So I much prefer this one right here. But I think overall it did a really good job. So you guys let me know what you think. We have all of these generations here. Let me zoom in a little bit. So we have the collage style one. We have the futuristic neon 80s theme. We have the Bauhaus theme ones. And we have the mystical kind of constellation one. And then the futuristic Y2K streetwear vibe. And so I think all of these are pretty nice. If you want to look at any of the prompts, I will leave the screen here for just a second. You can, of course, pause this video, check out what the prompts are. You can copy them, tweak these, change what you like, see what you want. Yeah, maybe you can get some other really cool stuff. A good place to start is always changing the color. But again, you let me know in the comments, what do you think of the ideogram model that's now in Kittl AI? Have you used it yet? Has it given you what you want? Are there any improvements that you would like to see to it? Are there any other improvements in general that you want to see to either the AI or Kittl in general? Because we'd love to know how you're using Kittl. Are you trying to use ideogram, for example, to create a finalized graphic, or are you using it more to create elements for you to use in your final graphics that you design? Please let us know how you're using it. We read all of those comments, we give them to the team, and that's how we create more content to help you. Now, if you've been looking for specific design styles, I actually did a video recently on 40 different design styles that I'm assuming have been probably pretty difficult for you to find. And so I would highly encourage you go check out that video. I put a lot of time and effort into that just for you all, because for me, it's always frustrating when you go to Google and you're trying to fight with Google to give you the design style that you want, but you're just not getting the key terms that make sense. Or maybe you're using Pinterest, or maybe you're using something else like Behance or whatever, and it's just not giving you what you want. Now, go check out that video because I've got 40 different design styles. Some of them are very artistic. Some of them are very much painting and art. But when you use those words with other key terms like graphic design or poster or art design or whatever it is, you'll get what you want. And so I'd love to know what you think of that video as well as other design styles that you've been trying to make. Don't forget to comment with other suggestions for tutorials, because we would love to know how to serve you better and let you get better at Kittl faster. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That helps us out a ton, and that makes sure that you don't miss any upcoming videos. And you can find all of the other additional information and links down in the description that you need. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.